I Am Taurus, Chapter 2, Çatalhöyük. They approach me as I stand amongst the herd, wearing clothes made of woven cloth, shoes of leather upon their feet, their stomachs filled with unleavened bread made from wheat that they plant, nurture, and gather. They are looking for me, the special one, but I am Taurus, and I am difficult to spot. I am the bull set within a mud brick wall of their house, my skull taken from a dead and decaying animal, defleshed, then cleaned and transferred inside. Surrounded by mud, stones and plant debris, I exist in that liminal, numinous region, between the real world and that of another realm, my horns sticking out into the room, long, pointed and impossible to ignore. I am covered with plaster, terrestrial bull and celestial bull, an intermediary between worlds. They approach me inside their labyrinth of Çatalhöyük houses, each one entered through an opening made in the roof. Clambering down a ladder leant against the southern wall, they find themselves in a small, gloomy chamber, illuminated by windows set high. Some rooms have an entrance shaft in the northern side and a bench which helps them obtain access. The chambers are self-contained, most lacking access to any other room of the settlement. Towards the centre of Çatalhöyük, the chambers are decorated with striking, sophisticated designs, including those featuring the skulls of my kind. But they do not consider these chambers to be rooms of one purpose. The entire settlement is approached as if the mundane and sacred are one and the same. These interior decorated chambers, however, are a little different in character from other living spaces, in that they often have small portholes in the walls leading into tiny, unlit rooms. Thus, as they move from outdoors into the settlement and from one chamber to another, they are performing a ritual at once secular and metaphysically meaningful. In aeons past, I was painted upon cave walls. They do not know me from those caverns of Western Europe, but a few days' walk to the south lie mountains permeated with caves which they do know, full of stalactites and stalagmites, and veins of green and blue apatite. From the stalactites and stalagmites they knock off pieces, which they take back with them to Çatalhöyük, while with the fragments of apatite they make bead necklaces. In other regions of Anatolia, on the slopes of volcanoes, they find obsidian, the black glass which is so sharp it must be handled with great care. To them, the underground world is an otherworldly place, and this they replicate in the design of their settlement. Moving around Çatalhöyük is a meaningful equivalent to moving around caves as their ancestors used to. Thus, when they move through the portholes from those richly decorated chambers into the tiny chambers set behind them, they are performing a profound act akin to entering the deepest cavern, inside which, in epochs past, their ancestors experienced visions. The interior chambers are decorated with images of me. Against the east wall, 2 columns are set near their respective corners, each with a protrusion at the bottom and the top. Between these columns lies a panel into which 3 large bull heads have been set, their horns projecting upwards and out. Below these heads lie many much smaller bull head images, arranged in 2 layers. To the right of the right-hand column lies another, smaller bull head, while to the left of the left-hand column 2 small bull heads are placed. Upon the ground before the panel, a low barrier has been built with 2 raised projections on each side, into which bull horns have been set, in such a way that the horns project into the space between wall and barrier. To the right of the right-hand pair of horns is a square hearth. The north wall is plastered, and into that overlay an image of me has been cut, my head facing away from the wall, my belly full, my legs short and stubby. I am everywhere in this room. Its odour is of stale sweat and straw tainted with animal dung. They see me and they smell me.